All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we have a not so nice video, at least for me, because we've got some major issues, unfortunately. So last night I went testing for Ford Fest, which I was going to go to next week, and I'm preemptively still planning on going, but that's besides the point, to go 860 racing. So we're going into the 860 class. I don't have an 860 tune for the car, so I took it out testing last night. First hit was awesome. 859 with an 8. So I'm like, dude, we have a weapon for the 860 class. So turn it back around, cool it down, slow it down just a hair. And then I go back up there, do the burnout, everything sounds good, engine's running great. Put it up on the chip, go down the line, and I get just before the 8th mile or so, and all of a sudden it goes and shuts off. And it shook the car bad. So I knew in my head that it was either one of two things, either kick the rods out of it or a broken drive shaft. Well, this drive shaft that I got in here is rated for like 2,500 horsepower. Like it's not unbreakable, but pretty much for this car. So I kind of knew right away that it was probably the rods. It kicked 2 rods out of it. So that's kind of what most of the subject matter of today's video is going to be, is we're going to pull this pan and see how bad the damage is. I did pull the drain plug out and it drained my entire cooling system along with it. So you guys know probably what that means. That means that it's really bad. And I can shine a light up in there and I can see that there are piston rings in the crankcase. It's gonna be some carnage underneath that pan. But I do have a really good 860 tune. I could have gone 860 racing, or I probably could have gone and did really well at Ford Fest, which really sucks, but you know, I was able to get the car over, no drama. I didn't ever put it into the wall or anything, so I'm super thankful for that. But let's get this pan off and see how bad the damage is. Right away, we can see there is an obvious problem, considering we've got a almost fist-sized hole in my oil pan, and everything underneath this car is completely covered in oil. It was quite the catastrophe, actually, when we were at the track. It was a big cleanup, so sorry to the guys at 131. Yeah, it's pretty obvious what happened here. Yeah, so we're gonna pull this thing off real quick, and we're gonna assess the damage. And honestly, more than likely, this entire bottom end is completely junk. We're not gonna be able to rebuild this. I can't afford to rebuild this even this year yet, unfortunately, and there's just not enough time to do anything for Ford Fest for this car, so kind of screwed out of that. But let's get this pan off and see what kind of damage has been done. Look at that. Agua. It's going. You can see that, oh my goodness, it's pushed this whole oil pan rail out and bent the bolts in the block. It's gonna be a little bit tricky to get these bolts out.
Good as new.
Just fold it all back in there.
You just need to
weld it up.
right? Yeah.
We're just gonna patch over it and keep running it. It's gonna be a small block Ford 6-cylinder. Oh. Oh, okay. Womp womp. There's the bearing.
Should be reusable.
Yeah, I think we can reuse that. Straighten them back out. It's a nice blender effect in there. It does look like it got hot, but not crazy hot, because I mean, you can see it's gonna have to be some more investigating going on. Oh yeah, you see that that rod lodged up against the camshaft? Well, we can see exactly kind of why this block is now junk, because this connecting rod up here has been lodged into the side of the block, and it actually knocked the whole corner right out of that cylinder. And I'm actually looking right now into the coolant passage in the block, and it has completely destroyed that piston all the way up to the second ring, man. You can see our oil control ring is just hanging into the crankcase. Not a good look. Not a good look. The rest of the rods look fine. No heat in any of the other rods. This crankshaft is probably destroyed, realistically. Not gonna grind this one. So it's gonna be new block, new crank, new rods, new pistons, new camshaft, probably new lifters, probably got bent valves. Pretty much the whole thing's junk. I mean, there's stuff that we're gonna be able to save off of it, like the heads, obviously, and intake and whatever, but everything else is junk. It's completely gone. Knocked all the cylinder walls out of it on one side. We got open coolant passages up by the camshaft. So, yeah, that's pretty much where we're at on this thing. Now that we know exactly what's going on down over there, let's pull the data log and take a look at that, see what we can see. All right, got the data log out here, and everything is looking completely fine. Right here is where it kicked the rod out of it, and then obviously I immediately felt the car shake and make all kinds of horrible noises, so I dropped the throttle. The engine is still running right here, and then it's shutting down because it obviously has got rods missing, and it stalled and never is going to start again. Oil pressure we can see is completely fine. It was at 76 pounds. Right when it kicked the rod, all of a sudden it drops, you know, almost 10 pounds, obviously, because it's got two rods that are missing. The oil pressure was completely fine. That is all in check. And then it just, boom, gone. Then we can also see here, because I have a coolant pressure sensor in this engine to monitor for head gasket issues, which I've never had since I switched to the stainless steel one-piece hoops on this engine. I've never had head gasket issues, but I do monitor that just in case. So 5 PSI coolant pressure is completely normal for this engine. We're only running 20, 21 pounds of boost through this whole pass. Then we get over here, engine is still running. We're at almost 4,000 RPM as it's coasting down, or I'm on the brakes. All of a sudden it loses all the coolant pressure. Obviously that happened because it's got a giant hole in the coolant passage in the block, which dumped all the coolant into the pan, and then it all just started coming out. And yeah, it was ugly last night. That's interesting that it all of a sudden, see what the boost is doing right here? Engine is at 0% throttle, and then all of a sudden it goes back up to almost 2 PSI for whatever reason. So that's kind of weird. As the engine's no longer running, it's at 624 RPM. I wonder what would have caused that. Maybe just some weirdness that's happening. I mean, all kinds of havoc is just absolutely happening every time you kick a rod in an engine. I mean, it is so violent. There's so much stuff flailing around that stuff happens. So yeah, I don't know, man. Other than that though, everything was looking good prior to the rods exiting the building. Fuel pressure is looking good. Coolant pressure, like I said, is fine. Transmission temp, coolant temp, all that is good. Our closed loop is not correcting hardly at all. Running super safe. I mean, we're, you know, at 21 pounds of boost, we've only got 20 degrees of timing in it. The tune was super safe. It was just literally slowing the car down to go 860s, and this happened. So really weird stuff. So before you guys say, oh, Kyle, you gotta check that stuff, make sure you're checking oil filters and looking at bearings. Ironically enough, I did that yesterday night. Well, it would have been 2 days ago now, that night. Pulled the oil pan off, pulled the very front rod cap off and the very rear rod cap off so I can see what our bearings look like front to back. I was on a crunch for time, so I didn't pull all of the bearings, but I could see that everything was in brand new condition. Cylinder walls look perfect. The rod bearing, or the rods, don't have any heat in them. I could move them with my fingers. They have side clearance, which is fine. And they did not have any kind of play in them. So usually once an engine is starting to knock and kick rod bearings out of it or roll rod bearings, it'll start making heat in the rod and it'll start making noise. Like, there will be signs before it just happens like that. That's actually what I was doing the night before we went testing with this. So I had pulled the pan off, inspected everything, bearings looked brand new in it. Then put it back together, go testing, does that immediately. And the funny part too was, as I'm driving it around in the pits, I made that first hit, I'm driving it all the way back to the trailer because it's street car, and it runs completely smooth. No knocking noises, nothing going on. Oil pressure is perfect. I had also cut apart the filter and the filter looked perfect. It was just a really weird deal. I have no idea why that would happen. I thought maybe I knew. My first intuition was to say that maybe that 790 pass was just the threshold for that Dart SHP block and they need to go to Iron Eagle block for more power than that. And maybe I had cracked the SHP block when I did the 790 pass, and it just got into a point where it's not going to take it anymore. That was my original thought, but after looking underneath there and seeing what happened, the block actually looks fine. It's just the rods that did all the damage. Really weird stuff. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. What happened to this to cause that to happen? Because we know that the rod bearings look good. There was no material in the oil filter. Was not knocking on the pass before that and driving it back. Wasn't knocking up on the line, wasn't knocking in the burnout. Oil pressure was perfectly good. And before you say, because I thought about this too, right? I thought maybe, oh crap, what if I messed something up or forgot to torque a rod bolt when I pulled those caps off and put them back on? Well, no, because the front and rear rods that I pulled off are still in there and still look fine. The rods that came out of it were in the middle of the block. So I did not touch those rods at all. Obviously, in the future, when I have some more time, we're gonna do a full teardown video and inspect everything and see how extensive the damage is. I'm sure that there's valve train parts in it that are hurt. I'm sure the camshaft's probably hurt, so look forward to doing that. You guys I'm not gonna look forward to doing it, but you guys can look forward to seeing that and seeing all exactly what happened, because we're gonna inspect this thing and see exactly what went wrong. So that will be in a later video, but for now, we are still planning on going to Ford Fest next weekend, so we're gonna be there. If you guys are around and if you're a Ford guy, dude, come out to Ford Fest, come introduce yourself, come say hi. We're planning on bringing Cherry, my drift car, because we are gonna be bringing my buddy Alex's drift car SN95 with us. So we'll have 2 drift cars there. We'll be out just hanging out pretty much, because I mean, I'm not gonna be racing. And I bought the tickets for Ford Fest as a drag racing ticket, and I'm not 100% sure if I can just switch or not. So as we're filming this, I'm actually working on getting a hold of somebody at Holly to see if we can transfer the ticket to like a drift ticket, and maybe I could drive Cherry. If not, I'm at least gonna bring it and see if we can just show it off and hang out, have a good time.
Run Cherry down the track.
Run Cherry down the track. We're gonna shatter that T5 if we can't help it. As far as the plan with this thing that we got right now, I don't have one. Because obviously that entire, at least the short block, is completely junked. It's gonna be new crank, new pistons, new rods, probably new camshaft, probably new valves. So I mean, we're replacing everything in this engine, and I don't have enough money to do this. I barely have enough money and make enough money to like afford this engine to begin with, right? So I'm already stretched thin, just going to all these races, filming content, doing maintenance on this. So it's not as easy as like, oh, Kyle, well, your dad owns Steve Morris engines. Why doesn't he just give you an SML? I get that all the time, and I'm telling you guys, it's not how that works, all right? I can't even afford the material that it would take to build an SML. So that's out of the question for right now. Yeah, I I don't have a plan with this because I don't know what to do. I mean, there's stuff in my head that I would be thinking about doing, but it's all a matter of time and money, which I don't have. So some alternate routes that I'm thinking about pursuing in the future would be either an Iron Eagle block or some kind of either a Shelby block. I'm not sure what's the highest rated aluminum 8.2 deck block for a Ford. I was already kind of talking about doing an aluminum 8.2 deck just to take more weight out of this car and get the weight down, but I'm not sure which way to go. So if you guys have suggestions in the comments for high horsepower, I'm talking this thing needs to be reliable at 2,000 horsepower. If it's not reliable at 2,000 horsepower, what am I doing? I'm just wasting my time. So the SHP block I think is probably would be fine, but if I'm gonna buy a brand new block anyways, I would rather just get something that I know is gonna be rock solid. So like an Iron Eagle, a Shelby, Ford Racing, I know that they make an aluminum 8.2 deck, but not sure what that stuff is rated at. That's kind of my thoughts right now at this moment as far as fixing this and upgrading it would be to just get a better block, maybe some better rods and a better crank. Really, I mean, we're just gonna build a brand new engine for this at this point. So that pretty much wraps up today's video, guys. If you are interested in helping me, the number one thing that you guys could do, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate all your guys' patronage for my current subscribers, new subscribers. You picked a heck of a time to come to the channel. So I'm Kyle. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.